Okay, guys, welcome back in. Um, Last session, we were, kind of talking about the problems you guys were dealing with. Um, and today we want to do something a little different. We're going to ask a few questions, and basically, we want you to give the problem that you guys have had a name, and we're gonna talk. Everybody here is gonna give that, give a voice to that person, whatever you decide to name it, and we're gonna talk as if we are that person. Does that sound?
Who are we? What are we naming?
So what is the main problem that you think that right now that your family is experiencing?
Oh, so we're like naming like whatever, like the.
So as a family, I want you to identify the main problem that you're focusing on right now, that you're feeling the most, and I want you to give that a name. I'd like you to work together to do that.
Like, I don't know what to call it.
The thing I think of is friction.
Okay.
I was thinking avoidance, but maybe friction. And I feel like we're just avoiding a lot of things.
What do you think about that?
I think that like both are true. Like there is a lot that we're avoiding, and I feel like the friction is new. Like so, like they're both. I don't know. Maybe we're avoiding talking about the friction. So I think like they're both,
So the friction is being caused by the avoidance.
or one's the other. I don't know. But I think they're both very much.
So which one would you guys like to, I guess, agree upon so we can focus?
Does it have to be like? Can we just name it Bob?
Sure, you can name it whatever you want.
And then maybe like, I don't know, I feel like I'm still like in the whatever, like I'm in the middle, but like if you name it Bob, then everyone can like interpret Bob however they feel like they're, or not, I mean.
And I think you could even comprise Bob, if that's the name you're giving it, of the friction and the avoidance. So it's whatever that name is going to personify whatever issue that you feel that you're coming from. So I'm hearing friction and I'm hearing avoidance.
Okay.
I think both
It's
are,
both.
both are important to
Okay.
talk about.
Okay. So, and the name that you've agreed on? Okay, great. So we're going to be talking to Bob today.
Okay, so when did you guys first meet Bob?
I guess a month ago.
Okay.
Yeah, when their parents passed, when our parents passed,
Oh, you're talking to Bob.
so when the siblings' parents passed, that's when I started coming in.
See, I think I showed up when Jolene went to jail,
Okay, and so
but they
Bob,
ignored me. Like they didn't know, maybe they didn't know that I was there, like they didn't realize that I was there until later, and it wasn't until their parents died that they really realized how, that I'd shown up before.
Okay, talk about that a little more. How do you feel?
Because I think that like the three of them like hadn't really ever like talked about Jolene as an adult. Like they'd never acknowledged her except how they related to her in the past. And then like when she murdered those people and then she went to jail, the parents just dealt with it. And they had all these feelings about it and they never talked about them because the parents just dealt with everything. They dealt with the lawyers, they dealt with everything else. And then when the parents died, they realized that the parents were doing all of it. And now they're the ones who have to handle it. And they hadn't ever, the three of them, like dealt with the fact that I was there after that.
so Bob, you've been around for a while, but you really started focusing with the parents' death. Jordan, when do you think Bob took the most time? Or has been the most difficult for your family?
After the siblings' parents passed.
Yeah, so I guess like maybe the siblings' parents kind of hid me and they hung out with me. And so the siblings didn't really get to know me who was introduced. So, and now that their parents are gone, coming to hang out with them.
So what I'm hearing, Bob, is that you kind of were hid by your parents. You hid behind those parents, and then when the parents left, you were able to just fully explode out into the scene.
Yeah, I think so.
Okay. So what do you usually do when you're together with this family?
Just cause chaos, not allow them to actually have true communication.
I agree with you.
Yeah, kind of stand in the middle there.
I think I distract them because if they're focusing on like someone who isn't there, then they aren't talking to each other. It's a communication thing. They're talking about Jolene, and they're not talking about what they need to talk about.
So what kind of things happen when you're, I guess, with Austin?
Well, I kind of make him avoid talking about the issues. His parents just died, and he's fighting with his sister for the first time, so I help him avoid that so he doesn't have to deal with those things.
Bob, can you give me some examples of how you helped Austin avoid that?
I distract him. I tell him that, none of that's the problem, Jolene's the problem. So then it makes it easier for me to deal with that versus dealing with everything else. Or it makes it easier for Austin to deal with those things. So I'm just kind of like that's what I do. Help them avoid the pain.
How do you feel by causing Austin to avoid these situations?
I feel helpful. I feel like I'm helping him avoid that hurt, so he doesn't have to deal with those things that are really hard to deal with.
And Allie, what does Bob do to affect you?
I think that Bob makes it easier for me to avoid actually having to makes it easier for me to avoid having to make some difficult decisions. And then it's easier for me to blame Bob for whatever happens after. And if I put off the decision that I don't then I can just pretend that the other stuff isn't real.
What are some concrete ways that Bob prevents you from doing what you think you need to do?
I don't talk about it. I don't bring it up. I just, act like, so does everything else. Like my job, trying to figure out where to have the wedding or whatever, so I can just focus on everything else and not try to deal with the actuality that it's happening after. So
What about you, Jordan? What are some concrete ways that Bob keeps you from being with your family?
I just feel like Bob makes it to where I'm not heard, and I'm pushed away to the side or to the bottom of the list.
And so when do you think, I guess, Bob has the most control of you? And what times do you think he has the most control? Yeah,
When I'm with my siblings.
okay. Talk about that a little more for me.
It's the time that I really want to be able to express myself and be heard, and it's the only time I'm not. When I'm at home and I'm with my husband and my child, he's not there.
Okay, so if Bob allowed you to express yourself, how would that look for you?
I think I would feel free.
Explain that. What does free look like to you?
I feel like the biggest thing that I just want to be heard and be able to express what I believe Mom and Dad would have wanted. And when Bob's around, I can't. And so I feel like I'm just being pushed down into this big pit, and I'm carrying on so much that the others that they aren't even like looking at necessarily, and I don't think it's fair to me to have to hold on to all of that.
Okay, so I just want to regroup a little bit and make sure that we are talking about Bob as Bob. Just to make sure that everyone gets a perspective on what's being said and how everyone feels. So, in the past, when has Jordan invited you out of their life? And what tactics have you used to find a way back in?
I feel like Jordan invited me out when they came up with the idea to come here to counseling, but I didn't like that, so I put up new barriers to where they couldn't focus on the grief that they're all carrying.
What are some examples of those barriers that you've been putting up?
I don't allow Jordan and Austin to talk, and when they do talk, they're just fighting over the same stuff. It's very circular, and I pit Allie against everyone as the one that's in control and the one that it's up to her to make Jordan or Austin happy, and I take all the control away from all of them in a way that they can't actually express how they're feeling about things.
Bob, do you think that Allie and Austin might feel the same way about you that Jordan does?
I'd say I do. I keep make sure Allie's distance from us, and I want to make sure that she feels that. And then also, she's almost in a trapped position where no matter what she does, someone's gonna be mad at her. And for Austin, I make sure that he kind of feels alone too, so he doesn't make sure when he tries to talk to Jordan that it's out of anger, and so that he's not really being heard.
So Bob, to say maybe that your main goal is to separate these siblings, would you agree to that?
Yeah, I'd say I do that.
I think that's Bob's. That's my goal. That's Bob.
So, Bob, in times where you haven't been around or haven't been as active, how would you say the siblings interact when you're not there?
When I'm not there, I think that like they get along and like they don't always agree on everything, but like they know who they are, like with each other at least. And then when I'm there, they're like all they do is argue, and that like makes me stronger. Like if I can keep them focused on what they're disagreeing on, then I feel like I'm making them down, so they won't be able to ask me to leave.
So by stirring up all of this conflict and high emotions and making each sibling feel uncomfortable because it is separating them, does that give you power?
Yeah, like each time they argue, like I get stronger, and then like the longer that it goes, like without them, like being able to like talk about like what's really going on, the harder it is for them to like to tell me to leave.
So you mentioned that it gives you power. I want to ask you, Bob, and what threatens your power in your relationship with these guys, Bob?
Even though they fight a lot and I my cooks that they value each other and value their relationship in the family, and that takes away sometimes from my ability to intervene.
So anytime the siblings come together, it makes them stronger or have the upper hand over Bob.
I don't know if it's when they're together, it's just more or less when they're actually connecting.
Earlier it was mentioned that coming to therapy was a way to fight against Bob. What would make that a threat?
I guess when the siblings are connecting more, there's less room for me to wiggle in. So there's them coming to counseling, they are almost like they're being forced to try to connect or to reconnect. So it's hard for me to step in.
And I think that like I've convinced them that if they don't agree, like on what to do, like with the inheritance, that if they can't agree, then everything's gonna be messed up. So I think that like I've like convinced the twins that if they don't, that they have to agree all the time. And then I've convinced Allie that they also have to agree all the time. And that like she has to try to fix it when they're like, when she knows that they're both like grown-ups and can handle their own lives. But then, so that way, like, it just keeps, like, like they can't, like I've like told them that like they can't fix anything unless they all like or agree with everything.
Yeah, I feel like I lose my power. I was losing power by them coming to counseling because they were aware that something was wrong.
So Bob, do you feel like Jordan might think that since she started coming to counseling that you're losing some of your power?
Yeah.
Does Jordan ever disagree with you?
Yes.
What about you, Al? Does Allie ever disagree with you?
Yeah, she disagrees with me sometimes.
Why do you, and then again, the same question, Bob, do you think Austin ever disagrees with you?
Yeah, I think so. Makes it harder because he wants to kind of reconnect.
So, what scenarios would you say, Bob, are when they disagree with you the most?
Like I think that like as like baby Hank like has like a birthday kind of coming up, and I think that like as like Allie like tries to think like what she wants to do for the baby's birthday, that like she listens to me less because then she's realizing that like her sister like has a whole life like outside of like who they are, and that they can still like agree, like bond over like the baby and like their nephew, and then they like that she listens to me a little bit less like when they're talking about that.
So family being involved and gathering around family, it really makes it hard for you to do your work.
Yeah.
Bob, how do you think Austin would respond to that situation?
What was the question again?
When has Austin ever disagreed with you? And like what situations has Austin been in when he's been able to say, you know what, Bob, I don't care today?
I think at most times when the siblings' parents come up, because that has really impacted Austin, and he really does need someone else to rely on. And so a lot of times him and I fight over that. Probably is the most relevant time.
Bob, I'm going to ask you about Jordan. When do you think for Jordan, has she ever disagreed with you, and what does that look like when she's doing it?
Yeah, she disagrees with me when she's not with her siblings. She's able to kind of tune me out when she's at home with her husband and her child.
So Bob's kind of like, Bob's in the room and they're all in the room together, I guess.
Like it's harder when like if there's two of them in the room, like it's harder to be there. When there are all three there, it's easy to be there.
Earlier you mentioned that when Allie and Austin and Jordan come together as a family, sometimes it's harder for you, but then other times it's not. So I
like to ask, how would you ever feel about the fact that if one of these guys asked you to leave their life, how would you feel?
I don't think I'd listen because like I know they actually really need me in the room with them. So I think I would probably just ignore them.
I think if like one asked me to leave, like I'd have to go to the other ones harder to get the the one who asked me to leave to like come back in. So that they all have to ask me to leave like at the same time. Because then it's easier like to keep them separated.
So what makes them need you in the room?
Well, I think I help them avoid the big things they're dealing with. I keep pointing at Jolene, then they'll look at Jolene rather than anything else.
So how does it feel for Bob to, we pointed out a lot of different areas of where the citizens might actually disagree with Bob. So what does it feel like for him to have those areas highlighted and the citizens become aware of those?
I think it weakens him. For me.
So what does that mean, Bob?
That he's not as needed as he thinks he is.
Or he's not as strong either as he thinks he is.
So what does that mean for each of the siblings? For Jordan?
I feel like I'm over Bob.
About for Allie?
And I think that like that even that like if Bob leaves, like I think that would make it easier for us just to realize that even if we don't agree with everything, we're still like family. We can still like love each other and be part of each other's lives, even if we don't agree on everything all the time. And that's okay. And Bob tells us it's not okay. And I think that like today, I kind of realized that Bob was lying to us the whole time.
So it's okay to have disagreements. How about for Austin?
I think Austin's getting fed up with me a lot. And he's pushing more and more.
Well, I am grateful that you came here today, Bob, and we're going to let you and Austin and Allie and Jordan go. And we'll see you next week. I like you whispering. I know, sorry.
I may have gotten quiet.
Are you okay? You look so sad.